tell you about how I'm going to look on 80.
Alright, so welcome to Creative Strategies for Increasing Class Participation. We're going to look at it through multiple learning styles. There's 3 types of strategies that I'm going to kind of go through with you today. First is the audience response, which is the clickers that you have in front of you. Then I'm going to do some smartboard training where you can use the smartboard to help encourage students to get involved. And then for those people who don't have any technology, there are also strategies without any technology at all to get students involved. Okay. So first of all, we all, when we teach classes, have that student in the back of the room that's really shy and doesn't want to participate, but you know they know the answer and you want to call on them, but you also don't want to embarrass them because you don't want to destroy their self-esteem. And one of the things to do to try and draw their attention or to draw them into the class is to really get them to see that what they think is the right answer is either is the right answer or other people believe the same thing. And the polling device allows you to do that. It gives them the confidence to get involved in the class. So there are different types of polling devices. There's the clickers, which is the one I gave each one of you that's on your desk. There's the smartphone, and there's various websites, and I'll show you a couple websites where you can actually have them use their smartphones to poll in class. And you can also do iPads, or if you have computers, like if you have the laptop cart, you can have them log into specific websites where you can poll them that way. The benefit is, again, like I said, you're encouraging those students to get involved. You're telling them they can see visually that they're not alone, that the answer that they're thinking, especially when you're asking opinion, a lot of times you get students that are afraid to offer their opinion because they think their opinion's wrong. So if you show them visually in a chart or in a graph that they're not alone, that there are other people that think the same way they do, they're more likely to get involved in the class discussion. And it eases them, which is what I'm saying, easing their minds in terms of their ideas and their beliefs. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some examples, and I hope this works. But if it doesn't, at least you see what the visual is that they would get, okay, in terms of how the other people in the class feel. And there's different ways to use the polling device. There's ways to start a discussion. So this particular question doesn't have a correct answer. Right? This is just me asking their opinion, and then you could discuss with them about all the different opinions. So the question today is, what would you consider to be the most imminent danger facing the world today? Terrorism, climate change, cancer, or human trafficking? What happens is you'll get a clock at the bottom, right? And it counts down to 9. So you now have 8 seconds to answer your question. So you might want to go over the question a little bit before you click that, because sometimes, especially with the discussion questions, they need time to process it. Then what happens is, it worked, oh my god, then what happens is you get a chart, right? So they can see, and I'm going to show you all different types of charts. There's pie graphs, there's the bar graphs, line graphs, and I'll show you different ones so you can see what they all look like. So 60% of you said climate change, and 40% of you said human trafficking.
I said human trafficking.
So you could talk then with the students, and they know that, you know what, a whole bunch of other kids in the class also have the same opinion that I do. So I'm not going to be alone when I give that opinion. And I've used this a lot of times in the class, especially with the summer reading and stuff like that at the beginning of the year, to really get the class involved with each other and to see that they all have similar beliefs. Okay. You can use it for test review. This one's probably not going to work, but it's okay. Which policy of Gorbachev increased communication between the Soviet Union and the West? Perestroika, glasnost, the NEP, his 5-year plan, or a START? Let's say 10 seconds. Don't worry. Okay, glasnost. And glasnost is the answer, right? So you all got it right. And then you could go through the wrong answers and things like that. So in some cases, this might be, one person gets it wrong and then they realize it's them. But if you do it in percentage, because you have like 22 kids, they won't know that like 5% unless you tell them is just one person. They'll kind of think it's more. So it kind of helps with that as well. And you can do it by pulling in quotes, right? Answer the question based on your understanding of the following passage. In conformity, therefore, to the clear doctrine of the Scripture, we assert that by an eternal and immutable counsel, God has once for all determined both whom he would admit to salvation and whom he would condemn to destruction. The idea expressed in the passage above is most closely associated with the theological views of Martin Luther, John Calvin, Ignatius Loyola, Pope Leo X, or Erasmus. And then give them a second. So you can have the question all on one page. Then you have 10 seconds to answer that one. And then you can have a whole separate page. Is what I'm trying to show you. John Calvin's answer. Oops. Sorry. I should still do it. So now it's working. Alright, so John Calvin, because it was predestination. Okay, so you can see that that's again another way of showing the information in a bar graph and on a separate page. You could bring in images, right? The image below is a representation of an event that took place in England during the reign of Henry VIII. What aspect of the English Reformation does it depict? The execution of Henry's wives, the conversion of England from Catholic to Anglican, the support Henry received from the Lollards, or the passing of the Act of Supremacy. And then you can move. I don't know if it was. It's the conversion of England. They were burning people who didn't convert. And look, you all got it right. Yay! And then the last is you can do it for something simple like polling in the class. If you have something that you want to see if they want to do something or whatever, you can easily poll them. Which of the following movies would you like to watch after the AP test? Frozen, we watched, which is awesome. Saving Private Ryan, Schindler's List, The King's Speech, or
You stacked the deck.
It's gonna come up Saving Private Ryan. My kids actually did choose to watch Frozen.
Of course they did, from those 5.
We watched Saving Private Ryan. And Ryan also watched Alright. You can do team competition. Now, I don't know if this is going to work because there's only 7 of you, but you can split them into teams, and then as you do it, it'll add the points so that you can keep a running total of one team versus another. And again, that helps get the kids to work together to try and, like, if they know who's on each team, to work together to get the answer, to make sure they click the right answer. It gets them involved in the class. So, all right, well, there you go. Good job, Team 1.
Ooh, that was us.
There are currently 9 Supreme Court justices on the court. Who was the first Chief Justice of the United States? John, see, I thought I'd throw some U.S. history in there for you guys. It was all your... Oops, it should have been John Jay. But I made it so it would say John Jay. And then, so Team 1 is winning 13 points. So they're 13-5. Then what I did was I added to the next. So this is just telling you who got it right versus like how many of your team got it right. Throughout its history, how many justices have there been on the Supreme Court? 50, 112, 225, 415, or 310? If you know this, that's bizarre. I'm just saying. Like, I don't know why you would know this. Team A is still in. And if you see it added. Okay, so what I've done with this is you can actually poll without the clickers. Because not all schools are going to want to buy you guys the devices. Although I will give you information if you want on this particular one because it's fairly inexpensive, which is I think why I got the school bag. But you can poll anywhere. You can poll using these websites. And on the back of the packet I gave you, I blew that page up so that you can actually have the website. So I actually created this one already. And you can pull, in this particular website, you can pull like 30 kids, I think, at a time. So it's going to ask, it says, which of the following would you consider the most significant cause of World War I? And again, this is a question that would start discussion, right? Because there's no right or wrong answer on this one. This one requires you to text. So if you have an iPhone and you have free texting, see there again becomes a problem. If you're in a school that kids don't have the phone, or they don't have free texting, then it works. So start this poll to accept. So you just hit start the poll. And it's really easy to use. They can also go on the website and respond as well. So if you have laptops, you can get them to do it that way. So you want to just text the number, right, to this phone number. So for militarism, alliances, imperialism, industrialization, or nationalism. Are you laughing at me? It should come up. There it goes. Two of you have tested successfully. So as the kids respond, it then adds to it, which is kind of nice. And then you can talk about the different things. So this one I thought was kind of cool. This was a really, really easy one to use. I've been on some of the others, and they're not quite as easy. You can also pay or have your school pay to increase the amount of students you can pull. Some of them also, and if you look at this one, it says you can use in a presentation. You can embed this into PowerPoint, which is nice too, so that you don't have to keep going back and forth. I actually couldn't figure out how to do it, so I didn't. But which is nice. But then there's other websites as well that you can use. So that was. Now, obviously, not all schools, again, you're not going to have the smartphones, or you won't have iPads, or you won't have. There are other ways, right? If you don't have technology to pull as well. And one of the easiest is to give each kid a whiteboard and a marker, right? And they can just hold it up. So that eliminates some of it. It doesn't completely get rid of the anonymity that this does, but they can still see that other people have the same response that they do. It still allows for it. It still encourages. Like my
I don't like counting.
Smart technology is another way to do it. And again, this just depends on whether your school can afford to provide this for you. But there's interactive timelines, there's review games like matching. It's kind of like concentration when you're kids when you had to like flip the cards over. Sorting and categorizing, which is also a good way to help them with the DBQ. Maps, and you can use, there's interactive websites, especially geography websites where they actually have to get up and do it. So this is really helpful for the kinesthetic learner too, as well, to get them up off their butts and to get over here and actually move things around. And it helps them visually as well as physically learning the information. And these are some of the interactive websites. Okay, so there's quizzes. We can do Latin American as well. And again, they're questions for 3 points. Where is Argentina? And they just have to come up, and they can actually click it on the smartboard, and it'll tell you if it's correct. So you can get them to come up. And I've done this. Sometimes I've done like group quizzes with them, and been like, if you get them all right together as a group, as a class, you won't have to take the written quiz. And so they'll actually help each other find all the different things, and they'll come up and encourage each other, which is